All right, the markets are opening up slightly lower as they try to erase the losses from the week. A bulk of those, of course, came on Monday after what was a wild start to the week. Mark Falter is here, the Retirement Income Hour, airing Saturdays and Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock on KCMO, Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group. All right, Mark, roller coaster week, my friend. What do you make of it?
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on. It was a pretty interesting week. Yes, it's kind of a sequence of unfortunate events that kind of all happened at the same time, caused for a very interesting week, but I think we're somewhat back on track.
Okay, you tell me what the biggest trigger was, especially on Monday, and how do you explain it in layman's terms to the rest of us?
Okay, so most people listening are familiar with buying stock on margin, meaning that you borrow money in order to buy stock. So a lot of people, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of institutions, you do that, but they're pretty smart in what they did, and that is they borrow in yen, Japanese money. And with interest rates being as low as they were in Japan for decades, it was a pretty foolproof process. So you could borrow it very, very low, if not almost no interest rate, and to buy stocks as opposed to paying what our high interest rates are here. That's all well and fine until the first time in a long time, the Japanese Fed basically decides to raise rates. And so that, combined with the fact that Jerome Powell's talking about lowering rates here, it just caused for a squeeze. And then all of a sudden, things started unraveling.
So then why did things calm down so quick? How did they calm down so quickly the last couple of days?
Well, basically, we realized what it was, and it started. I'll tell you, there's another angle to it, too. As things drop, we realize, hey, this is the cause of this is just basically the fact that the free money isn't so free anymore, and they've made some very, very, very good prices. And a lot of people bought back in, and sending the market right back up again. Basically, they needed to know the reason. And once they realized, oh, geez, it's a few people paying more for the money, and it's still not nearly as high interest rate as what it is here in the United States, it's not that big of a deal. Let's buy. And so all of a sudden the market starts coming back.
So you had
for a good week to buy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you had all this stuff happening this week. You mentioned, of course, the Japanese markets were kind of the crux of it, but then you had this weaker jobs report, I would say, last Friday that came out as well. You had Warren Buffett dumping half of his Apple stock that got a lot of attention. So where does the economy here in the country factor into this? And then how much of it, too, was just maybe some of the big guys like Buffett taking some profit off the table with companies like Apple?
It's an interesting thing on that whole Apple thing, because I watch that close because I do everything I can do to keep my Apple stock up because I think I own every product Apple makes. But, I think to myself, long term, Apple's going to be a good buy. I just think he's taking some profits and he's trying to get a little bit reallocated, so to speak, kind of like we should reallocate every once in a while. I don't think he's bearish on Apple as a whole, but the economy is slowing down, not as hot as it was 6-8 months ago, slowing down slightly. The job market, it depends on the sector, though. Certain sectors are just harder to get a job than they were 6-8 months ago, and we're seeing that with the jobs reports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's slowing down. So then Jerome Powell, there was even talk on Monday and Tuesday about the Fed having some emergency rate cut. That seems to be off the table. Probably good it's off the table. But still, will he cut rates by some kind of a number in September with an election also 6-7 weeks away? How do you see that playing out now?
I bet no guarantees, but I bet there's a strong possibility he might. Mm-hmm. I bet it'll get cut before the end of the year. And I think we talked about that on the last time I was on the show. I still think he's going to cut it before the end of the year, something. Yeah.
And what do you think that would be? 25 basis points, or would he go to 50?
Probably 25 basis points. Yeah, I don't think it'll be as high as 50 basis points. It'd be too drastic of a move right at first, because we've been talking about this and pricing it in for months now.
Well, let's get to some good news, Mark Falter, Retirement Income Hour, Saturday and Sundays at 9 on KCMO. Mortgage rates have come down, Mark, so that's good news for people who maybe been waiting on the sidelines for rates to come down. Maybe some people start selling more as well to get some more supply into the marketplace. What are you seeing happening here in the mortgage market?
Yeah, and it's helping the 30-year-old, 40-year-old, the worker, the person that's working. I tell you, I've told many of our clients and of other people, I said, man, in the last year to 18 months, it's been a great time to be a retiree. But it's been tough on the person that's been having to pay the interest rates. But the mortgage rates coming down should help several different areas as far as just basically giving more money back into the budgets. It's been tight for that 25, 30, 35-year-old person as of the last 18 to 24 months. And so this should help.
Yeah. Do you think it's one of those things that we will start to see more supply? And if so, what does that mean? Does that mean we just go back to the 2021 days of bidding wars for homes? I mean, it doesn't mean necessarily the price of housing will go down because the market's already so tight.
Yeah, I think it should help the real estate market. I'll tell you what, that has been the most amazing thing to me is how the real estate market has kept going as well as it's going with interest rates being as high as they are. I mean, it's 6.5%, 7% to borrow for a house right now. I mean, you think about that. Just 24 months ago, we were talking about 2.25%, 3% mortgage rates. You go from 3 to 6.5%. That's a game changer,
Mm-hmm.
And it's rates coming down. I think should help things, but it's somewhat still of a bidding war right now with real estate.
No, it's not. Yeah, certainly it's still very competitive out there when it comes to home buying and things of that nature. Do you think, Mark Falter, on the markets in particular, the tech stocks, are they overpriced or are they right where they need to be?
I think they're still a little bit overpriced because people have been buying into that. We've been seeing a lot of growth in that area in the last 12 to 18 months. Again, for the younger person, if you're buying Apple stock, if you're buying Google, if you're buying Netflix, long-term, 5-7 years, you're going to be fine. But it's that retiree that really wants to not try to participate in this game right now. That's the biggest thing that I think people need to focus on. If you're 3 to 5 years out from retirement or in retirement, you should be looking at, especially right now, income vehicles, safe vehicles, things that produce income, younger people into that growth stuff. And really, if it takes a dip, buy more if you're younger.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you got to really have the attitude of don't be greedy. Is that how you would say it,
No,
Mark Falter? Don't be greedy.
Exactly.
But
don't be greedy.
I
Right.
mean, it's been quite a run the last 10 to 15 years for the most part. So, listen, if you're approaching retirement, it's one of those things I got to believe, Mark Falter, where you know what you need to do and what you should do. But damn, it's been a good run, man.
It's been a very good run, or at least if you're going to be greedy, take a certain subsection of your money and be greedy with that, but don't do it with the whole pot because it can put you into a very anxious scenario if things correct. And I think there's a lot of things that could cause a little bit more of a correction between now and the end of the year.
What do you see that being? Is that just related to the election or are there other things?
Yeah, this political environment, and I'll tell you what, all that's going on in Israel right now is not something to ignore. I mean, there could be some serious crap hit the fan over there. I mean, what's going on with Lebanon and Israel's pretty much telling everybody if you're in Lebanon, you got a matter of time to get out of there. And it could go south in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. Mark Falter, Retirement Income Hour, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 here on KCMO Talk Radio, Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group. Mark, great work as always. We'll be keeping tabs, and it's going to be an interesting couple of months. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks.
Well done. Mark Falter on KCMO.